Golf Smarter number 587, published on April 11, 2017, is brought to you by Radio Baseball Cards, our newest podcast from smarterpodcasts.com. Stay tuned for details at the end of this episode. The Ghosts of Augusta. A Masters recap with our old buddy comedian MattyB.
This is Golf Smarter. Sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Greene.
MattyB, welcome back to the Golf Smarter podcast.
Fred, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I love being on the show, and it's really cool being in this coffee shop with you virtually.
Well, yesterday afternoon, while watching opening day of baseball, my whole cable system went down, and I thought maybe because they're doing some work on our street and they cut into the line or something, but I was unable to get, this morning I was unable to get a signal at all, so I had to go to the local coffee shop just to get some free Wi-Fi so that we can record this, because this is too important of a conversation to miss out on.
I think that you should record ambient sound of the coffee shop we're in right now, like everything I can hear in the background, like the people murmuring and the cash register and the door opening and closing. And I think you should run that underneath every interview you do, because it makes it seem like we're having this wonderful conversation over coffee. I actually enjoy the sounds of the coffee shop.
Okay, well, I can also use that ambient sound. I kind of like being in my studio because I have a feeling people are looking at me right now going, what the hell's he doing?
Definitely.
Oop.
Definitely.
Oop.
That happens to me wherever I go.
Well, yeah, but, because now you're a star. You're a TV star and a radio star. What have you been up to? Well, we didn't get to talk at New Year's this year because you were going through some changes. We didn't get to do our recap, but that's why we're here to talk about the Masters and do the Matsters. Yes. But what have you been up to? There's some exciting stuff going on for you, right?
Yeah, well, I finished season 4 of The Curse of Oak Island, which is the show I host on History Channel. I host a companion show called Drilling Down that goes along with The Curse of Oak Island.
Right.
And we finished season 4. My 1-hour special aired about a month ago on History Channel, so I'm wrapped on that. But we are going to do a season 5.
Wow.
So if there are any Golf Smarter listeners who do watch Curse of Oak Island, there will be a season 5. They will continue to search on the island, so that's kind of exciting. And when I wrapped on that, I took a job. I was offered a job to do a radio show in Boston, which is my hometown. So I have moved from New York City, where I was for 13 years, and I am now back in my hometown of Boston doing a daily radio show, afternoon drive from 3 to 7 every day.
And are you going solo on this radio show, or is this a whole zoo type of craziness?
No, it's not a zoo, but I did bring in a partner. It's called Matty and Nick, and it's on 107.3 FM WAAF in Boston. And wherever you are in the world, you can actually get the app. It's WAAF, and you can get the app and listen and stream it from wherever you are, where I'm from, again, 3 to 7 Eastern time every weekday, and we just try to make your ride home, have some laughs on your ride home.
Well, I was listening here in California last week. I was listening to your show on my computer. I just pulled it right up from their website. And, did you make me feel old.
What are we doing? Oh, no.
Well,
the music?
The conversation cracked me up. And the music going, turn it down. What is this noise?
Yes. Yes. Well, we feel the same way. As in fact, the intent of the show and what we're going to do is phase out music entirely.
Oh, wow.
And have it, have it just be a talk show.
Let's just hope programming's not listening to this podcast.
Oh, no, they're all for it. They're all for it. That's why they hired us. But the problem was, in that time slot for the past 20 years, it's been all music. It's been 15 songs an hour, and we've taken it down to we're now playing like 4 songs an hour. So they wanted to not shock the audience and just here these two guys are going to talk for 4 hours. So we're slowly taking the music away.
And what is the topic of conversation on Afternoon Drive in Boston FM Rock?
every day it changes. Everything, pop culture. I always try to shoehorn golf in because that's my passion, as you know, and my partner makes fun of me for it. But we do sport, we do pop culture, we do current events, we do rock. Whatever guys are talking about, kind of, we try to follow what's going on in the world.
Obviously, the key demographic is guys. You just said whatever guys are talking about.
Yes, it's definitely, we're going after men, but we have a lot of women that participate too, because it's funny, when you talk about, like, quote-unquote guys' issues, of course, that fires up women a lot to say, like, well, wait a second, or I agree, my husband does do that, or whatever the case may be. So you kind of cast a wide net no matter who you're trying to talk to.
Oh, well, congratulations, man. I'm really happy for you, and you must love getting a regular paycheck.
Yeah, it's different. I haven't had one since Back Nine, my golf show at the Back Nine Network. But it's a different type of life. You know, I was a lone wolf for 15 years. You know, and so it's different. I've had a few things like this in my career come up where it's a regular, steady thing, and it's a nice change of pace. Yeah, to get the steady paycheck, definitely.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
Well. We had opening day, opening weekend of the 2017 PGA season, and what a kickoff it was. Let's talk about the Masters. Now, are we just going to do a normal conversation about two guys hanging out talking about golf, or are we really doing a MattyB type of roast to the Masters this year?
Yeah. No, I didn't. I wanted to save that format for the end of the year awards, the Matty Awards that we always do. So I figured this would be more of a conversation about the as I call them, the Matsters.
The Matsters. Well, yes, do we start at the end, or do we start at the beginning? I mean, I guess the end. Well,
I think we should start at the beginning, because I did want to talk about the year without Arnie, the first year without Arnold Palmer, and what a huge deal that is, and how well it was handled in that opening ceremony, and laying his jacket down. You know, and it's funny, when I found out Arnold had died, it affected me much more, deeply than I thought it would, because I never met the man. I never knew the man.
Sure.
But my dad was an Arnie's Army guy. And when I was a kid, we did go see him play, and my dad actually caught the golf ball that Arnie threw to the crowd.
No.
And
wait,
yes,
when was that? At what event?
Yeah. Okay, this was in Marlborough, Massachusetts. It's actually a funny story. I'll tell it real quick.
Okay.
So it's my dad was a Arnie's Army guy, and he was playing a senior event in Marlborough, Massachusetts at the Marlborough Country Club. And so I was maybe, I want to say 8 or 9 or 10, in that range, a little kid.
So this is like 1995?
Yeah, it was like 2006. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Fred. So I'm a little kid, and he drags my brother and I. He says, "Come on now." At this point, golf means nothing to me at this point in my life. I was a traditional sports guy, and so he drags us in the car, and he says, "Come on, we're gonna go see my hero." So we followed him for 3 days, and my dad kept yelling, "Ani, Ani," in the Massachusetts accent, and he would look and kind of smile at my dad. So he wins the tournament on 18 on Sunday, and he picks up the ball and out of the hole, and he's waving to the crowd, and my dad's going, "Ani, Ani," and Arnold turns and kind of looks over my dad's direction, recognizes the voice from the weekend, and throws the ball over towards us. And my father just absolutely takes out a crowd of people, like just to get this ball, and me included. And he knocked me down, and I'm on all fours on the ground, and he catches the ball, and a lady says, Sir, you knocked down that young boy. You can't do that." And in a punchline that we quote in my family to this day, my dad scoops me up with one hand and goes, "It's okay, lady, it's my son." As I'm all muddy, taken up on my own father.
And are you toothless, holding up the ball in your hand, going, "Yeah, we got the ball"?
Exactly. exactly. So then it gets even more amazing. My dad wrote a letter to Arnie saying that he was affected by him and caught his ball, and it was great to watch him. He was his hero growing up. And Arnie wrote him back a beautiful letter and a signed picture. And to this day, my father has it in a frame, the picture and a letter from Arnold Palmer that hangs in his office to this day.
Wait. Where's the ball?
He's got the ball somewhere. That's a great question. You know what?
It's not with the picture. It's got to be with the framed letter.
Well, back then, I think it was probably a huge deal to go get like a ball, a mechanism by which to have the ball in the frame with the picture. He's got like a cheap frame back then, but he's got it tucked away somewhere.
Oh, Matty,
safe,
come on!
Knowing him.
Listen, just go to the Container Store, buy a frame that has that spot for a golf ball, and give it to your dad as a present before it's too late, man. You need to have the ball with a letter.
Although now that you say that, my fear is he's going to reach into a thing of ball. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it?
Come on. He's got it. Maybe it's got AP on the. Is it a Titleist ball? I'm assuming it's a Titleist.
I think it was a Bellata. I think it was the old Bellata.
Wow.
In fact, I'm glad this came up because I'm going to call him today after this and make sure he knows exactly what it is. But no, I bet he does. He's got it.
Yeah. But we're recording this on a Tuesday, and you did your show yesterday, so you probably talked about the Masters already on your show, on the radio show, so you can't talk about. Okay, well, you got to tell your dad's story.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
So good. That's such a great story.
So then watching Arnold, the Masters without Arnold was kind of like, wow, and but they did a really good job. It was classy, it was sad, but not maudlin, and then when Jack Nicklaus, held this hat up to the sky with tears in his eyes before he hit the ceremonial tee shot, it was just like, whoa. Whether you're a golf fan or not, that's 50 years of friendship or whatever it was, and it was really. And we'll get to this when we talk about how the Masters ended, but truly, Augusta does have ghosts about it. Mystical things happen at Augusta time and time again that are just that can only happen there, and it does make it really a special place.
Expand on that. What do you mean? What are you thinking about when you say things like that?
Okay. So all right, this skips us to the end, which is fine. When Sergio hit that putt, I'll give you one example. Sergio hits that putt to win it. Looks like it's not going in. It hangs on the edge and somehow like kind of spins in. And it was Seve Ballesteros' birthday. Right. So, people were jokingly tweeting, hey, Seve knocked that ball in. Seve gave it the old foot wedge. Seve helped it in. Seve guided it in. And then I realized Phil Mickelson, on the same exact green, in the same exact situation, late in his career, had never won a major, wins his first major at Augusta. His grandfather had just died. And if you watch a replay of Phil Mickelson's putt, it does almost the exact same thing as Sergio's. It looks like there's no way it can go in, and it just rims itself in. Now, 90% of the time, those putts traveling hard on the wrong line rim out. And Mickelson has been quoted as saying, I've always believed that my grandfather nudged that ball in. And that was the Masters that he won where he jumped 2 inches in the air. So you got two very similar guys in their career who haven't won a major, winning majors by having a putt get kicked in by their mentor and loved one, possibly. And then you can go back to Ben Crenshaw, who won the Masters when he wasn't ever supposed to. That week, he went to go bury Harvey Penick, the author of The Little Red Book, the famous golf teacher. His mentor, his teacher, dies. Crenshaw's, on the practice green, and his caddy gives him a tip, and he says, my caddy never gave me a tip in my career. I didn't know what he was talking about. Where's this coming from? And he said that he had a dream that Harvey Penick told him to tell him this, and he goes on and wins the Masters the week that his mentor died. And there's other ones too. So it's just something about that place, the history. If you don't believe in that type of stuff, you could just say it's the confluence of events of history and that the fact that it's played there every year. If you do believe in mystical kind of stuff, you look at this place and say there are ghosts on this course that affect outcomes.
We need to be playing the theme song to your TV show right now. This is too creepy. Isn't this the kind of creepy stuff that you talk about on the TV show?
Absolutely, yeah. Oak Island has a lot of paranormal aspects to it that I've actually experienced. See, I believe in this stuff, so when I see things like this, I'm affected by them emotionally. Like when I thought of it, I haven't seen anyone else print this. I tweeted it when it happened. I haven't seen anyone else in golf media, and maybe someone has by now, compare Mickelson saying that he felt his grandfather knock that putt in to on Sunday watching, Sergio's putt somehow go in to win it on Seve's birthday, which is incredible. He wins the Masters. He's never 72 attempts to win a major. Never won a major. Only heartbreak. The times he was close, it was snatched from him, or he choked it. And then on the day of his mentor's birthday, he wins it at Augusta with a putt that somehow goes in. I mean, it's just, coincidence? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I want to make sure that everybody in the Golf Smart audience right now, just go ahead and tweet your own about Matty's paranormal confluence of Augusta. The confluence of Augusta. I think that's what we call it here.
Yeah, there you go. Ghost of Augusta.
Ghosts of Augusta. The name, okay, that's the name of this episode. That's it. Ghosts of Augusta.
And that Ben Crenshaw story is amazing too. He literally went and buried his teacher and then wins the Masters out of nowhere. I mean, that's just, even if you eliminate the possible paranormal aspects of it, it's an incredibly emotional story. And he had no right winning that year, and he does it.
And like everybody who was there, like everybody who was watching, were you jumping up and down or near tears when that last putt went in for Sergio?
Yeah, so here's something I tweeted Fred when it happened, and this is true. So my buddy Teddy McKay here in Boston, who used to work at the country club in Brookline, he's a huge golf fan, and him and I for years have always kind of, I don't know why, we felt a kinship with Sergio when everyone was down on him for saying, I guess I just am not good enough to win a major, or golf is against me. We felt for him, like we're like, oh, we've been there. This game is, so we always rooted for him. So literally since about, I don't know, 2007 or 8, him and I have been tweeting each other on days of tournaments where days of majors when Sergio was in the hunt. We would tweet each other, hashtag Team Sergio. And so when he won, I tweeted out, me and Teddy McKay, finally, we did it, Team Sergio. I was rooting for him to finally get one.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And how many times during the back 9 did you go through the, well, that's it. He's gone. He's done. He's toast. He ain't coming back again.
Oh, yeah, look, I mean, Rose hits a, near 300-yard drive on the par 5, perfect on the right side. He's got 60 or less into the green on a par 5, and Sergio snap one's in unplayable under a bush, and he's already 3 down coming in the stretch, and you just go, oh, it's over. It's over. And then you're watching him drop in the pine needle, and then they're talking about maybe the ball moved and there might be a ruling against him, and you're going, here it is, another Sergio meltdown. It's over, it's more than over. And to watch him come back, and I was telling my son Max, because my son Max is starting his little competitive career, he's doing the PGA Junior League, and he's going to try out for his high school team in a couple of years. Yeah, and he's a good little player, and I told him, when Justin Rose missed that putt and Sergio made the par save, I said to Max, this is an unbelievable lesson. This is match play now. This match was over 13 seconds ago, and now it's right back on, And that's the beauty of golf. Like, it's never over. Even when you think it's so over, it's never over. And there's been example and example and example of that. And that's what made this Masters so great, is it became match play. Usually, it's guys either trying to hold on to their lead, or it's guys coming from behind a few times, and it's that excitement. And they're playing against the score. They're playing against can they par 12. This was the first guy to flinch. It was match play, and that made it really exciting.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just thinking about your your paranormals.
Yeah.
Do you think Seve pushed Dustin Johnson down the stairs? Is this like the making of Baby Jane? Whatever happened to Baby Jane? Did Seve have anything to do with the fact that Dustin had to pull out the day before so Sergio can win this one on his birthday?
That's amazing. Amazing. But, well, if it works one way, it might work the other way, right? Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that was another thing from this weekend that kind of scared me. More than Sergio dropping his unplayable lie on the 13th hole. When I saw Dustin Johnson, quote unquote, slipped and fell, I was like, uh-oh, given his past, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, who knows, but it did seem odd to me that, the guy's built like a panther. He's one of the best athletes on the planet. I mean, he's so strong, so athletic, so coordinated. He's like an alien. And it just seemed, when I first saw the story, I went, that's odd. That he fell and was unable to play. It's just, I guess it is a freak weird thing, but I got to say my spidey senses were tingling, and I hope it's not anything nefarious, but he seems okay.
Yeah, I
He'll be
mean,
back.
I even had friends texting me going, oh yeah, he slipped down the stairs. I'm like, why? Just give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, he could have.
Yes.
But, it's the night before a big tournament. Is he really going to be drunk? Is he really going to be inebriated at that point? Who knows?
Yeah, you'd hope not. And if so, clearly there's a problem there, obviously. But, and it probably was just a freak accident. But I just when I first saw the story, I was like, oh, no. But he's in the interviews the next. Yeah, it could have been Seve, absolutely. He was a fiery Spaniard.
Yes, he was. Oh God, the story, it's just too good. I'm so happy for him too. I had a couple bets going with my kid. We have a thing that we do for the Masters that before the tournament starts, like on Wednesday night, we'll each pick 5 guys, okay? And you get points based on what place he's in. So if he's in first place, he gets 1 point, right? And guy with low score at the end of the 4 days wins. So and if he wins, we give him a -10, and if he doesn't make the cut, you get a +61 plus what the cut line was. So if the cut's 53, and then and he doesn't make the cut, he gets an extra 64 points, right?
Got it.
So. By the end of Friday, I was crushing him. He had 2 guys that didn't make the cut. I only had 1 guy that didn't make the cut because I talked to the tour junkies the week before, and I knew what guys to go with. And like my son was like just going on his own numbers. So we decided, okay, well, let's do this. Let's pick on Friday night. You got to pick 1 guy to win it. Separate bet. Right? It's just a separate bet.
Got it.
So you pick 1 guy to win it. So he picked Ricky, and I picked Sergio.
Oh, you brilliant dog!
And at that point, Friday night, you had Sergio, Phil, Freddie, Ricky, Jordan. They're all in the hunt. It was so exciting to start the weekend. You had so many guys.
Even
that were
Rory.
Great stories. Even Rory. Yeah, they were all there in the hunt. So anything could have happened. And Ricky was one of his 5 that he picked from before. I went outside my 5. Although I had Phil picked in my 5, I went with just because I wanted Sergio to win.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great pick. And it's funny. I actually have a tweet too that I was showing off to people because I had a dark horse of Charley Hoffman, who was leading the whole time. He's my dark horse pick, and then Sergio was on my list too of 4. Man, it was like when he eagled that putt on 15, you must have freaked out, especially having picked him as your winner. After the drop on 13, where like that match was over, and then boom, he just came back, and it was just so much fun to watch him. The only thing I would say that was a little bit, and this is just my xenophobic self. It was 2 Europeans, and you're coming off an Englishman winning last year, would have been nice to have one of them be an American.
Well, yes, because there were Americans all up and down the list on Thursday and Friday. But for people who've been listening to Golf Smarter for a long time and have heard Matty for years, I'm sure you're waiting for Matty to go, well, I'm glad it wasn't Louis Oosthuizen.
Oh, this is like in Star Trek when he yells Khan, but me it's Oosthuizen! My nemesis on this show.
I can't tell you how many people in this coffee shop are staring at me right now.
By the way, dear listener, who took me to task on that, in what year was it? 2008 or so, or 9?
Yeah.
How many majors has Louis Oosthuizen won since then?
Let me guess.
That'd be 0.
That would be 0. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Although his name did come up over the weekend, but it came up and went back down again.
No, he's a world-class player. Yeah. Oh, Fred, by the way, could you pass me the cream and sugar? I just want a little bit for my coffee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So cozy here. Cozy here in the coffee shop.
Oh, my gosh. Any names, any plays, any shots over Thursday and Friday of people who kind of disappeared from us over the weekend that stood out to you?
Great question. Well, Jordan's comeback was super exciting, and I gotta admit he was again, makes another quad at Augusta, and this kid just continues to fight back. That's another thing I said to Max, my son. I said, think about this. When and I might be 1 or 2 strokes off, forgive me, I don't have my notes, but when he took the tee box on Saturday morning, he was 5 over, I believe, and the leader was 8 under. Mm-hmm. Charley Hoffman, I believe. Mm-hmm. So you do that math. I'm not good at math, Fred. Was that 13 strokes?
Yes, very good.
So he's 13 strokes off the lead after making a quad at the place that everyone in the world was waiting to see if he'd make a quad again. Not the same hole, but still made a quadruple bogey. 15 strokes off the lead. Tees up the ball on Saturday and ends the day even par, I believe, and only like 3 or 4 behind.
Yeah, right.
And I said to Max, that is a lesson again in this game. Like, you just keep fighting every hole. You keep fighting every hole, and you never know what's going to happen, especially if the conditions are windy like they were. By the way, another reason I think there's a lot of Europeans up top, because it was very windy. And like the last time it was that windy at Augusta, you had Zach Johnson win, who's a great scrambler. Great up and down guys. So those European guys are used to playing in the wind, and they're so good at it. But yeah, I think that was the thing that sticks out, was the excitement of him coming back after Saturday morning. You're like, all right, he's done. Take him off my list. Like, nope, not so fast. Yeah. He fought back again. He's the most resilient kid I've seen in so long.
Oh, he's so remarkable.
He's remarkable and so intelligent at that age. He's so young, but so thoughtful. And on the other side of that coin was Phil's fade. Phil seems to be getting off to some hot starts, and just, I don't know if it's age or whatever, just not being able to sustain it for 18 holes by the 3rd day. So I hope that changes. I'd like to see him get that U.S. Open that he wants so badly.
Yeah. And let me conclude my part about my bet with my son. Was he was like battling, even though he took Ricky as our second bet. He was like, should I do Ricky or Justin Rose? And the whole time he was kicking himself because he was going to pick Justin Rose. So it would have been an amazing. But the fact is, he lost both bets, and I get 2 rounds from him at the Olympic Club in San Francisco.
Oh my God, what a prize!
Yeah, well, now we got to figure out how to get there. We get in, right. But he owes me 2 rounds at the Olympic Club.
Well, that should be his job, because he lost.
Yeah, exactly. You know who kind of infuriated me during the first 2 days was this kid Tyrell Hatton, who was, he missed. I think what it showed to me, and I've been asking this question for years on the show, is these young guns that are coming up and winning tournaments, winning majors, and yet do they have the mental stability? They have the mental toughness, that it takes in golf. And look what Sergio did, right? Here's a grizzled veteran who didn't have it, and he's gone through so much emotionally and mentally on the golf course that he came of age. I mean, it was his really coming out party as an adult.
Right. Yeah, and Sergio said something to that effect. He said, I've finally learned, and in the Butler Cabin ceremony, he said, I've finally accepted what Augusta gives you and takes away, or something to that effect. And it was like that acceptance. And then he was able to win. And that's growing up. And you have this kid, Tyrell Hatton, who, I think you're referring to when he knocked his bag over with his glove.
Oh, my God. He just was stomping around like he actually said he looked like a spoiled little kid who didn't get more oranges at halftime. I mean, he was just, you could tell that he was not going to do anything because the way he was so upset with himself for missing a short putt.
I would say two things on that. One is I'm just really thankful in a lot of ways. Like if I could give anything in my life, if you were my genie, Fred, I would be a PGA Tour professional.
You are so over
I
the
do.
top on this.
Wait, can you make this happen, by the way?
Yeah, sure. Let me just doink, doink, bing. Okay.
I would be a PGA Tour professional. That being said, I am thankful all the time that I wasn't watched by millions on television playing golf when I was in my 20s. Right. Because, I ran hot and cold like many people do, and temperament-wise. And, he's played, I think I read he's played in 15 total PGA events.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a new tour player. So he's just got to grow. Some guys run hot. Some guys, great golfers. It's funny when you go watch a PGA Tour event. They're all very zen. They all just kind of walk the same, talk the same, make the same slow motions because they know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And then every once in a while, you get a guy kind of stomping around, and it's just like, all right, that guy runs hot, and maybe he'll learn how to harness that, and maybe he won't. And I think. He just give him a little time, and I think he's probably embarrassed by that tape. I'm sure he's been talked to by. I'm sure Augusta ain't happy about that video of him knocking his bag over with his club on the 11th.
Oh yeah, he may not get invited back.
That's right. So he'll learn from it hopefully, and if he doesn't, you won't hear much about Tyrell Hatton.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you talk about a youngster who is out there and really showing his stuff, was this kid John Rahm?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And he was playing so well. And then on Thursday, though, he had, at 16, he had this very short birdie putt on the par 3, and he missed it. And you can just tell that he was playing pissed off from that point on. And then he had this 8-footer on 18, and I was like, he's going to miss it. I mean, you could just see he's just not carrying it. Yep, you just knew it.
Boy. That's a lot of nerves for a young guy. I mean, he's a rookie. But he's won before, but it ain't Augusta. You know what I'm saying? So, boy, you can't blame him for that. And I'm sure he's excited that it was Sergio, 2 Spaniards. But yeah, watch out for this guy. He's got it all.
He's got stuff.
No question. He's got it all. He's big. He's a boomer. He's a great soft touch, soft hands.
Great smile and a great laugh.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Love him.
Oh, well, buddy, this has been way too much fun. Do you want to make any more predictions about what's going to happen for the rest of the year in the majors? And then we'll talk about it again at the end of the year. We'll talk about the MattyB Awards for the 2017 PGA season.
Okay. So the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004.
Okay.
Then last year, the Cubbies win.
Thank you, Theo.
Sergio. Yep. Sergio gets his major, finally.
Oh, are you going to bring up the Super Bowl too? Yeah, and Brady does his comeback. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah. So it's all these.
And if you bring up the presidential race, I'm going to smack you in the head.
No. Fred, I'm not going to do that, okay? It's going to be huge. The Masters are going to be huge next year. It's going to be the Trump course. It's going to be awesome. No. Okay, here's the thing. I think now that the seal has been broken, I think Lee Westwood's going to win the British Open.
Ooh, that's a huge prediction. All right, I'm going to write that one down and hold you to it.
Yeah. The sports seal the 7th seal has been broken. Sergio broke the curse, and Lee Westwood's going to go like, all right, enough of this best player without a major thing. I'm going to finally do it.
Wow, I love that prediction. That's a good one.
And then why not? Why not? Since we're going. As the young kids say, go big or go home. So I'll say Phil finally gets his U.S. Open too. It's going to be a banner. It's going to be an unbelievable year. And then Rory gets another PGA.
Okay.
So you got
And
Phil getting his U.S. Open.
Yep.
You got Lee Westwood finally winning a major. And you got Rory winning another PGA.
Ooh, it's going to be a big year for golf if that all comes to mind. And you'll be a very wealthy man if you actually put down $5 on all those.
I do put golf bets every year down in Vegas.
Do you really?
Yes.
And let me guess, you didn't give Sergio any love on that bet this year.
Let's just say Sevi the Ghost wasn't in Vegas that day when I put my money on.
The ghosts of Augusta. Hey, I'm gonna tease the audience with this right now, but Matty, you're gonna love this. I just launched a new podcast, and I'm gonna play an episode. They're only 2 minutes long, but it's a radio show that I did in 1987, and this is strictly for baseball fans, so you're gonna love this. It's a radio show I did in 1987. It was a national syndication called Radio Baseball Cards. And the host of the show was Don Drysdale, the late Hall of Fame pitcher and broadcaster. And I hired two women reporters, and the three of us traveled through spring training for 3 weeks and did interviews, well over 100 interviews with players and former players, mostly Hall of Famers, about their life in baseball. And they tell little anecdotal stories. Like the first show we do is Hank Aaron talking about what it felt like that night that he broke Babe Ruth's record. And the second episode is Duke Snider of the Brooklyn Dodgers talking about opening day in 1948 with Jackie Robinson as his teammate.
My God.
Because this year is the 70th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, and it's the 30th anniversary of me producing this show. And I just listened to a couple of them the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, this is some of the best work I've ever done. I gotta share this with everybody. So it's called Radio Baseball Cards, and it's now available on iTunes.
Fantastic.
You're gonna dig it. I know you're gonna dig it.
That is really special. Yeah, thank you, Fred. That's awesome. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, and we'll play a little more of it right after this episode. MattyB, it was great to talk to you again. I look forward to having another conversation towards the end of the year. And congratulations on your new gig. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Thank you, Fred. I will do a show with you in a coffee shop, outhouse, hen house, whorehouse, anywhere you want.
Hey, you are not on Afternoon Radio Drive, man. Watch
Sorry,
your
little Tommy Lee Jones there. Sorry.
So if you missed last week, I'm back in the studio. The internet's back on here. If you missed my announcement on the last episode, Golf Smarter Premium Access has been discontinued. And now every episode of Golf Smarter, all 587 of them, dating back to 2005, are free for everyone. Whether you have a favorite topic, favorite instructor, author, or just interested in some great stories, you can search and find whatever you'd like and listen whenever you want. Since a majority of our shows are evergreen in nature, most of the information in Golf Smarter episodes are just as valid today and as helpful as they were when they were originally published. Episode number 1, Zen Golf with Dr. Joe Parent. It works today. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to get a lot of great information on how to stay calm and how to approach game and golf smarter. It's pretty simple. Here's some options on how to find and hear what you want with Golf Smarter. First is the free Golf Smarter app for iOS or Android. If you haven't downloaded it yet, when you do, make sure you look for Golf Smarter app, which is the complete name, so it's not to be confused with the podcast. You can also find every episode on our Libsyn website at smarter.golf. There's no .com, .org, .biz, .co. It's .golf. So the website is smarter.golf. And while we only listed a few episodes in iTunes during the premium access period, now there's more than 350 available. But the most compelling reason to go back into these archives is that the episodes you'll hear are the full interviews that were published for premium subscribers only. So if you've only listened for free, then you missed a lot of great information. And maybe you heard a show that you liked but knew there was more. Well, now you can go back and hear it. Again, that's smarter.golf, iTunes, your favorite place to find podcasts, or the free Golf Smarter app for iOS or Android. And now I'm very happy to tell you about the newest offering from our network of podcasts at smarterpodcasts.com. It's called Radio Baseball Cards. Many of these episodes are now listed in the archives of the Baseball Hall of Fame and Library in Cooperstown. I'll be back in a moment to tell you more about the history, but to kick it off, here's my professional radio announcer friend, Brian.
There's a lot to say about Radio Baseball Cards. John Madden.
The headlines are only when a player, an athlete, does something that's wrong. I think as fans, sometimes we just get sick and tired of that, because there are good people out there. There are people that are doing good things, that are good model citizens for our kids. And I think that's what Radio Baseball Cards do. They show the good guys. And they show kids, tell them, something that maybe they could hang on to. I think we need more of that.
Radio Baseball Cards is the first radio series to be featured in the Hall of Fame. Nowhere else can you hear baseball's biggest stars telling stories like these.
I mean, there's a lot of funny things that happen on a ball field, but it's not every day you see, owner of a Major League Baseball club do a cartwheel on own play.
Sometimes I'm a boxer out on the baseball field, and sometimes, I'm Eddie Murphy, or sometimes I'm Billy D. Williams, or some days I'm a Clint Eastwood, just really mad.
He says, you can't rob us. You can't rob us now. He says, I've got a knife. I says, I can rob you. I've got a gun. He says, okay, you got it.
My first World Series, I was just a young kid in Chicago, and we played probably the greatest team of all time, the 1932 Yankees.
I mean, to look at Shea Stadium, and there are more people in the stadium than there is in my whole hometown.
I wish you a happy Mother's Day, Mom, and I know you'll probably be in the stands watching us play.
Hi, this is Fred Greene, creator and producer of Radio Baseball Cards. This program was originally created in 1986 as a pregame show in the San Francisco Bay Area called A's Radio Baseball Cards, hosted by a friend who was interested in becoming a radio color announcer. Well, that opened the door for a spectacular career in the booth for former All-Star and World Series champion Ray Fosse. Now, the show received so much attention that I decided to cover the entire league. After speaking to a number of Major League announcers about making this a national syndication, I was honored to enlist one of my childhood heroes, Dodgers Hall of Fame pitcher Don Drysdale, who at the time was the play-by-play announcer for the White Sox. Over the coming months, we'll bring back some episodes from 1987 to hear amazing and amusing stories from some of the greatest baseball players of the 20th century. Also, 2017 is the 70th anniversary of the breaking down of baseball's color barrier, so we'll feature teammates, opponents, and admirers sharing their favorite memories in celebration of Jackie Robinson. Subscribe to the Collector's Edition podcast of Radio Baseball Cards, free in iTunes or at smarterpodcasts.com.
Here's another Radio Baseball Card. Hall of Famer Hank Aaron holds more Major League batting records than any player in history, but there's none sweeter than 755 home runs. He'll reminisce about the night he broke Babe Ruth's seemingly unbeatable record right after this. April 8th, 1974, Atlanta, Georgia, Dodgers versus the Braves. The world's eyes were on Henry Hank Aaron.
It was, an occasion or a day that I will always remember because there were so many things involved. Sammy Davis Jr. was there, the mayor of Atlanta, the governor was there, and held that right in the palm of my hand. What I did 4 times at bat was going to determine whether I was going to hit the home run before millions and millions of people. And I said, now, you got to do it, get it over with, and show people that you're for real. But I remember that day very well, and I was extremely happy that it was over with, to be honest with you, because I had gone through just about as much as I could possibly go through. I don't know whether I touched the ground at all, But I do remember touching the bases because I was going to make darn sure that a couple of the Dodgers players shook my hand and congratulated me before I got to home plate. But I was glad that it was over.
Hank Aaron is in his 11th year as Director of Player Development for the Atlanta Braves. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1982. With Radio Baseball Cards, I'm Don Drysdale.
SmarterPodcasts.com. Delivering sound advice.